What's up guys, my name's Brandon, and it's hard to believe that the iPhone 8 and 8 Plus are the oldest iPhones compatible with Apple's latest software update, iOS 16. So I wanted to use the public beta on this iPhone 8 Plus to see just how good or bad it runs in terms of performance and battery life. And I was also curious about what features I would miss out on compared to the latest and greatest iPhone 13 Pro Max. So let's start with the biggest visual change in iOS 16, and that is the lock screen. So once you update your phone, you will be able to haptic press, or in the case of the iPhone 8, you will be able to 3D touch on your lock screen, and you will see this little interface here where you can add new wallpapers and basically customize your lock screen. And you're really not missing out on much with the iPhone 8 Plus. You pretty much get every single thing that you get on the iPhone 13 Pro Max here on the iPhone 8 series. So you can choose between your featured, you have your weather and astronomy, you have your emoji, your collections, all that good stuff right here. And the beautiful thing about this is that when you go to customize it, you could actually add in widgets right here as well. So if you wanted to see, your upcoming timer, your upcoming events in your calendar, whatever you want to do, you could add that right there. If you wanted to have your battery status, you could have that right there as well. Then once you tap on done, you will get the option to save this as a wallpaper pair, and you can see what that would look like on your home screen. So if you set that, you can see it will change our home screen wallpaper and now shows the same as the lock screen. And you may have seen before that it was blurred. So if I go ahead and 3D touch right here, go to customize, and then quickly tap on done and go to customize home screen, we have a little legibility blur button right there. You can tap on that and it will blur your home screen just like so. And I can also access that very easily and more quicker through the settings. So if you go to your settings, go to wallpaper, you will see we have a whole new interface right here. You just have to tap on customize current wallpaper, and you could turn on the blur right there, or you could change it to a different color or choose from something in your photos. Now you'll also notice when you start playing music that your music comes in at the bottom right here. Now we don't have as big of a screen as like the new Pro Max phones, but you can see it still does look nice down here at the bottom. That way you could see all of your little widgets that you added up there, and you also have room for your notifications to come in from the bottom. So you can see they come in right down here. The music stays on top. Now, unfortunately, the iPhone 8 does not get every feature that like the iPhone 13 Pro Max gets. There are a few features that are excluded from the iPhone 8 series, and it's not even just the iPhone 8 series. A lot of these are not on the iPhone 10 or 10s or even the 11 either. So the first thing I want to talk about is the copy subject feature. So if you go ahead to a photo right here, I'm going to go to one on this device as well. So on the newer phones, you can tap and hold on a subject and it will pull it away from the background, and it'll basically give you a transparent image right here. You also have the option to just tap and hold. Let me just try this one more time. Tap and hold, and you have the option to copy that subject. And now when you go into, let's just go into a note right here, and we can paste. You will see it pastes just the subject without the background. It's never perfect, but it is a pretty cool feature. Now, unfortunately, you do not get that with the iPhone 8 series. So we have a photo right here. You can see no matter how many times I try to select it, you cannot do that feature. Now, we also do not have the live text and video feature. So we never got live text in general on the iPhone 8, but now with iOS 16, you get live text and video for compatible devices. But of course, that also did not make its way to the iPhone 8 series, along with continuity camera, which is a feature that allows you to use your camera as a webcam on the Mac. That is not available on the iPhone 8. The iPhone 8 is also missing the live captions feature. This is a brand new feature in iOS 16 that allows you to use on-device intelligence to automatically display captions across all applications. So it will show like what a person is saying on FaceTime on your screen in text, like it's going to give you captions for that. Also, if you play a video or anything like that, it will show those captions on your screen, which is pretty neat. But of course, we do not get that in the iPhone 8 or on the iPhone 8. Now, along with that, we do not get dictation features, like you could insert emojis with your voice on newer phones, and you could also continue texting with your voice even after you start typing. Neither of those you could do on the iPhone 8. And then lastly, in the magnifier application, you do not get the object and door detection. So you're really not missing out on too many features with the iPhone 8, which is pretty impressive. I mean, really the only ones that are missing that I could see most people using on a consistent basis are like the copy subject, where you pull the subject from the background, maybe the continuity camera, so you can use your phone as a webcam on your computer, and maybe even live captions. But other than that, I mean, you're really getting everything here on the iPhone 8. Every single wallpaper, all the lock screen features, they're all the same on the iPhone 13 Pro Max and the iPhone 8. You're even getting access to the iCloud shared library. So if you go up to your iCloud settings right here, and then to iCloud, and then to Photos, you will see down here at the bottom, we have Shared Library. When you tap on that, this is where you enable your shared library. And you also have the shared library suggestions and sharing from camera. So when you go into your camera application, you will see a new icon up in the top left-hand corner. When you select or deselect that, it will show shared library or personal library. And if you go into a photo, you will see you have the little personal badge right there, and you can move it to your shared library from that, or by tapping on the three dots, you can move to the shared library, which will allow you and anybody else you invite to see those specific photos. We also have lockdown mode available for the iPhone 8 series. So if you go to our settings, privacy and security, then all the way to the bottom to lockdown mode, you can see right here, we have lockdown mode, which will severely limit your applications if you are the subject of a cybersecurity attack. Like if you're targeted for a security attack, you might want to enable this, and it's nice to have this option right here. You could read all about it right here, and you do also get multiple, kind of warnings before you do turn it on. We also get the ability to unsend and edit iMessages. So if you haptic press or 3D touch on a message right here, you will see you have undo send and edit. So you can edit that message very quickly and tap the plus. You can see it does show edited right there. And you can also go ahead and undo that message. Of course, the other person will see that you unsent a message, but it won't show them what you said. 3D touch also gets a slightly different animation here in iOS 16, and it also just feels faster and better in iOS 16 compared to iOS 15. We do also have haptic feedback on keyboard strokes. So if you go to your settings, go to sounds and haptics, and then go down to the bottom, you will see we have keyboard feedback. And if you turn on haptic, you will feel haptic feedback for every keyboard stroke. Now, it's not near as strong as it is on the newer iPhones, but you can still feel that haptic engine every time you type, which is nice. And I actually like that it's not as strong on the iPhone 8 series as it is on, say, the iPhone 13 Pro Max. It feels a little bit more faint and more natural. Now, as far as the performance goes on iOS 16, there is a little bit of lag on the lock screen. You can see here when I go down from the lock screen, it is a little bit choppy, and same with when you go ahead over here and add a new one. You can see there's a slight delay there. Sometimes there is a little bit of lag on the lock screen section, but aside from that, performance is pretty good. I mean, I haven't really noticed any major bugs on the iPhone 8 series that are not, widespread on every other device. Really, the only time I have issues is with the lock screen. So that is very good news for the iPhone 8 series. I really thought it would go downhill with iOS 16, but it seems like it's actually getting better in terms of performance. And if you're like me and you only have 64 gigabytes of storage, you will probably have to delete quite a few things just so you can get like at least, I would say 20 gigabytes is probably a sweet spot. You want to have at least 20, 15 to 20 gigabytes free, in my opinion, to have optimal performance. If you don't, you could see a big reduction in the performance, especially on a beta version. So I would definitely go ahead and, get a bigger version of iCloud, or maybe offload some things on your device if you do have a 64 gig device like me. Now, I did also notice that the Geekbench scores were actually pretty solid here, especially for a beta. So I'm going to run another benchmark here since I've had it installed now for a couple of days on my iPhone 8 Plus and show you guys what type of scores we're getting, even though it's pretty hot right now. So scores might be a little bit lower now because there is a lot of heat since I've been using this for going on 30 minutes now. So we scored an 892 on the single core and a 1971 on the multi-core. So it was slightly higher before, but still pretty respectable scores there for still being on a beta. So I would expect the performance to be pretty good once the final version rolls around. But even here on the public beta, that is pretty solid in terms of performance. But when it comes to RAM management, I can't really say too many good things because I think it's actually better on iOS 15. Now this could change by the time the final version comes out, but so far RAM management is definitely worse here in iOS 16 compared to iOS 15. And then when it comes to the battery life is also not very great here on iOS 16. Now again, this will change by the time the final version rolls out. I'm sure battery life will be fine, but on these betas, just keep in mind the battery life is not going to be great. And that has to do with the fact that, there's a lot of bugs going on. Also, the phone gets really hot on these beta versions. So that's one thing to keep in mind with the iPhone 8 series. Your battery life is not going to be great. It's not going to drain overnight. I'm actually kind of impressed with how good the battery life is given that it's a beta, but still, it's not perfect. You're going to have better battery life on iOS 15, so just keep that in mind. So now with all that being said, should you update to iOS 16 on your iPhone 8 or 8 Plus? And even though the battery life is not the greatest, I think you should. I mean, it seems solid for the 8 series despite being the oldest iPhone supported with this iOS 16 software. So you have tons of cool new features, you have security enhancements, you have that fresh look on the lock screen, you have the lockdown mode, you have a lot of cool features that I think it's worth, the slightly worse battery life and maybe a little bit of a reduction in performance just to test out all these cool new features. And before you go unsending and editing messages in iMessage, make sure the person you're talking to is also on iOS 16, otherwise they will just see what you originally sent. It will not unsend messages to the person on iOS 15, so just keep that in mind. So yeah, guys, that is iOS 16 on the iPhone 8 and 8 Plus. So if you have an iPhone 8 or 8 Plus and you're on iOS 16, let me know how it's running for you down in those comments below. A lot of people are going to be looking to those comments as well to see how it's running on your guys' device, just so they get more, kind of validation that they should install iOS 16 or that they shouldn't install iOS 16. So let me know your thoughts down there in those comments below if you are on the iPhone 8. And if you enjoyed this video, I would appreciate if you gave it a thumbs up. Also, make sure to subscribe for more iOS 16 coverage coming very, very soon. But anyways, guys, thanks again for watching, and I'll see you soon.